Morning, everyone. It's Tuesday at 10 a.m. And here we have on our Facebook live stream today is the African bullfrog. The African bullfrog is from South Africa, so they are not native to Connecticut. We do have bullfrogs in Connecticut, but not nearly as big as this guy here. So he's pretty big. He's a male. Male African bullfrogs can get to be about 9 inches. Females are going to be smaller, about 4 to 5 inches. And what he's doing right now, he is just chilling and digging in the dirt. It's his favorite pastime. He's pretty lazy. He just kind of sits, burrows. He'll sit in his water dish. And then he'll also eat. So a pretty eventful life. But this animal is actually pretty amazing out in the wild because they can survive Africa's really harsh environment. So where they are, they're on open grasslands at low elevations, so they can be exposed to really high temperatures. We're talking over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Or sometimes they can go way down below, like plummet below freezing. So these African bullfrogs, even though they don't look like much, they can certainly withstand really harsh temperatures. And they do that by digging, by the sand, soil, dirt. And that'll protect them from becoming too hot or way too cold. They'll kind of also, when they're down there buried in the soil, will kind of cocoon themselves with layers of skin to help them prevent moisture loss. Since this guy's an amphibian, he's a frog, moist skin is so important to help him to be able to function and breathe properly. This guy, even for a frog, he doesn't have very big webbed feet. His front feet, can't totally see them because they're buried in the soil, but his front fingers don't have a lot of webbing. Most of his webbing is on his back feet. And they get the name the bullfrog because when they vocalize, it's a loud bellow when he kind of bellows and almost roars to attract females during the rainy season in Africa. So the rainy season in South Africa is going to be November to March. So the big males, the biggest males, they're going to all congregate. The big males are going to push, shove, and bite each other to kind of get each other out of the way. They might even eat smaller males. So that kind of puts them on top, and then they'll start bellowing to attract females. And they're going to be doing this on a water source. Okay, since this is an amphibian, their life cycle begins in the water. So once they mate in the water, the female is going to lay thousands of eggs, up to 4,000 eggs, in really shallow water. Now, all of those eggs might hatch. Some of them might not hatch. They're going to hatch within 2 days. And the tadpoles are going to be eating plant matter in the water, insects. As they start to grow, they're going to be growing and eating smaller fish. They're going to be eating each other. And the dad, African bullfrog, is going to be there for parental care, which is kind of odd for amphibians. Typically, dad does not stick around, but for the African bullfrog, dad does stick around and help protect the babies in the water. But it comes at a cost because dad will sometimes eat the tadpoles. But since there's a couple thousand of them, it ends up kind of balancing itself out. Other things this animal might eat as an adult, our African bullfrog here is an adult, out in the wild, is going to be, well, other animals. They're carnivore, so they're eating other animals, insects, smaller frogs, small reptiles, small mammals, even small birds. Okay, this frog doesn't have a lot of teeth, but they do have teeth. They have three tooth-like projections in their mouth. So these guys are known for biting. They can be aggressive. And since this guy right now is probably about the size of your hand, he can open his mouth very wide. And they will eat each other too. So there is some cannibalism in the species. Mostly with the bigger frogs eating the smaller, younger frogs. At the Barnes Nature Center, where this amphibian is housed, we feed him crickets, superworms, we'll give him roaches to eat. He's really good at flattening himself out, kind of like a pancake. So flattening himself out makes him look even bigger. We can see his skin is pretty moist. That's important for being an amphibian, so they don't have moisture loss. Their skin is permeable, so air can go in and out from their skin. That's so important for it to be wet. We also kind of see a line going from between his eyes, down his back. Just underneath there, he has a backbone. So since this guy is a bullfrog, he's an amphibian, so he does have a backbone. Typically, that big backbone is going to help frogs launch themselves, but since this guy is kind of bulky and chunky, he's not doing much launching. He's going to have kind of clumsy hops. This guy, so he is an adult, so he's kind of this olive green color. Males underneath their jaw, their throat, will kind of have a yellow to orange color, and females will have more of a cream color. So that's another way we can distinguish males and females. We just saw he was using his back legs to kind of kick around the soil. So they are going to be using their feet to dig. Typically, these guys are going to be living to about 40 or 45 years old, 40 to 45 years old. So they do have a long lifespan. But out in the wild, they're going to be dealing with a lot of challenges. So remember, animals out in the wild, they've got to get their food, their water, their shelter. They've got to deal with predators. Predators could be, well, larger bullfrogs, snakes, birds of prey. So if you're lucky enough that you find all your resources, there's enough food going around, there's enough water, there's a nice shelter that you can take up, and you're able to avoid predators, you can have a nice long life of 40 to 45 years. In captivity, they're pretty simple to take care of. So in his tank here, we can take a look at his tank setup. There he is, he's in the corner. We've got a nice big water source, so he'll sit in that. Keep his skin nice and moist. We've got some plant cover, lots of soil, and then we also give him a heat source. Frogs in Connecticut are starting to come out. So if you go into your backyard or on your porch at night, you can hear some frogs. A lot of the wood frogs and the spring peepers are coming out that you can hear at night. Another interesting thing about this African bullfrog is his coloration. So he's kind of an olive green color, but he's also got these brown, black splotches all over his body. So remember, since this animal spends a lot of time on the ground, in the soil, in open floodplains, grasses, he wants to be the color of the ground. So that's an awesome way to camouflage. He's blending in with his environment to help hide from predators or sneak up on his food. And they will do more of a sit and wait for their food. So he might sit in the dirt and wait for his food to come by before he launches out and grabs them. And they can do that for hours. Or he'll just sit in the soil, buried with the soil totally on top of him, with only their nose sticking out. So he's a pretty interesting guy. He's junky. He loves to eat. He loves to sit. And that's a pretty good life for him. But that is our little bit about our African bullfrog. So tomorrow we are going to be back at 10 a.m. We're doing our Facebook live streams every day at 10 a.m. on the Environmental Learning Centers of Connecticut Facebook page. Right now, temporarily, we have all of our reptiles and amphibians from the Barnes Nature Center at the Indian Rock Nature Preserve. So we're making our way around the room, taking a look and learning about the natural history of our animals each day. So tomorrow we'll be back at 10 a.m. with another animal. And of course, if you have an environmental topic or a specific animal that you would like us to cover, you can comment or message us and we'll be sure to do that. But thanks for tuning in today, and we hope you tune in tomorrow.